Hello and welcome. This is your home of fearless, independent and credible journalism. I am MFA Powering your life on Joy News today. In the headlines, 6 people bent beyond recognition and another ghastly accident at Akumadan in the Ashanti region barely 24 hours after 17 others perished on the Kumasi-Techiman highway. We have updates from both incidents. Meanwhile, police are appealing to the general public to assist in the identification and collection of bodies of victims of the Ofenso accident. We'll hear from them as 4 adults and 12 children remain on admission.
We are yet to receive the family of the deceased to come and then identify them.
And President Akumadan briefs world leaders on steps Ghana has taken to mitigate the effect of climate change in the country. We hear more from his address, which ended a while ago at the ongoing Glasgow conference. We have more right here, including business, sports, world news, and showbiz, all in this hour. Please stay with us. Right back with details.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Welcome back and many thanks for your company. We start off from this rather disturbing incident, and 6 persons have been bent beyond recognition in the ghastly accident at Akumadan in the Ofenso North district of the Ashanti region. The accident reportedly occurred in the early hours of Tuesday, November 2, 2021. It involved a passenger bus with registration number GT 421517 traveling from Techiman in the Bono East region and a Kia Rhino towing vehicle with car number GT 6983. The bus is said to have gone up in flames following a crash. The Akumadan District Police Commander, DSP J.C. Ajiman, who confirmed the incident, said 22 others have sustained minor injuries.
So it is true that there has been an accident involving a passenger bus and Kia Rhino towing car. Yeah, so far we can say for a fact that 6 has been burnt beyond recognition, and 22 of them sustained minor injuries, and they have been rushed to Akumadan Government Hospital.
Well, I'll be going live to my colleague Erastus Asaridonko shortly, but victims have since been rushed to the Akumadan Government Hospital with rescue efforts still ongoing. So the accident comes barely 24 hours after 17 persons, mainly Kayayes, died in an accident at Ofenso Abofo in the region just on Monday. My colleague Erastus Asaridonko is following these beats for us. He'll join us shortly with more on this. Of course, we'll be hearing from police as well on what exactly the situation is, what the latest is on it. So they are also appealing to the general public to help in the identification and collection of bodies of these victims of the Ofenso accident. So 17 people in all lost their lives in that road crash yesterday. So 4 adults, 12 children, some in critical condition and are still on admission at the St. Patrick's Hospital in the Ashanti Regional Capital. Well, the commander of the Police Motor Traffic and Transport Department, MTTD, Superintendent Emmanuel Edubuahin, told Joy News autopsy for victims will be conducted today. He's been speaking to my colleague Mapitso Sibidi on News Desk.
We still have the numbers that we put out yesterday, and then, but we thank God that they are responding to treatment. We are yet to receive the family of the deceased to come and then identify them. But for now, we are still on with the investigation. We'll be testing the cars, and then also know the testing officer's report and so on and so forth. We'll take those things into consideration. We'll be also performing autopsy too on the disease or dead person. If you consider or look at the destination, it's Daboya in the Savannah region. So we are believing that the family might be picking the news maybe as at yesterday in the evening or this today.
Yeah.
And then for them to travel all along from Daboya to this place, that is also another journey. So we are believing that hopefully by midday they should be arriving to identify the bodies of the disease. We are also, in fact, monitoring the condition of one of the suspect drivers, that is the articulator driver. When he becomes well, we'll be looking at some charges against him and then putting him before court.
So that's the latest situation on that incident. From the Ashanti region, let's take a quick flight to Glasgow, this time in the UK, for the 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference of Parties currently underway. And President Akumadan has just been addressing the conference and has outlined various steps Ghana has taken to mitigate the effect of climate change in the country at the ongoing summit. Some 200 countries are expected to present a plan to the world on how they intend cutting emissions by 2030. They have a common aim, which is to discuss, examine, negotiate and approve various steps each country has put in place to halt the speedy rise in temperature. President Akumadan delivered his address a short while ago, touting achievements of his administration in reducing climate change.
Climate change is the greatest threat to the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals. It has enormous impact on the fundamentals required for our survival on Earth, and that is why we have converged in Glasgow. Even though we in Africa are the least of the contributors to this phenomenon, responsible for less than 4% of the global volume of carbon emissions, we suffer the most because our agrarian and resource-driven economies are peculiarly susceptible to the effects of climate change, and our capacity to withhold its shocks is weak. Agriculture, water, energy, and the extraction of mineral resources are essential drivers of developments in our countries, but at the same time are characteristically sensitive to changing climate. The African Development Bank has stated that the continent will need some $3 trillion United States dollars in mitigation and adaptation by 2030 to enable us implement our nationally determined contributions. The obvious question arises is how do we in Africa finance these commitments, especially as our socioeconomic development continues, unfortunately, to be low. The Almighty has blessed our lands with abundant natural resources, and it would be wholly unfair for the world to demand that Africa abandons the exploitation of these same resources needed to finance our development and help us to cope better with the threat of climate change at a time when many countries on the continent have only just discovered them. The development and industrialization of the wealthy nations of today were also hinged on the exploitation of their natural resources. This development came at the expense of pollution and the emission of greenhouse gases. Even today, the Western world is responsible for 76% of carbon emissions. Ghana acknowledges the importance and effects of climate change and the urgent need to combat it. And we acknowledge equally the importance of protecting our development. We believe that a balance must be struck and maintained between our social, economic, and environmental imperatives. We're naturally very disappointed by the failure of the wealthy nations to honor their commitments of making available $100 billion annually to the poorer countries to assist us in the fight against climate change, and by the unavailability of the technology transfer that will help us find sustainable ways of charting a path out of this existential crisis. Those same nations are, however, insisting that we abandon the opportunity for rapid development of our economies. That would be tantamount to enshrining in the global community inequality of the highest order, a totally unacceptable conclusion.
President Akumadan today addressing that conference in Glasgow. Well, issues about climate change and carbon emission has been raised. You heard the president raise concerns about the wealthy nations not keeping to their promise of making available funds for the less, endowed countries to be able to go to it. But let me take a look at the data when it comes to carbon emissions around the world. So we take a look at the World Bank Group, COP26 Climate Action on your screen. You know that this is supposed to be a conference starting from the 31st to the 12th of November, where leadership from the World Bank Group will boost efforts to ramp up support for a green, resilient and inclusive recovery and support to low carbon transitions. The people are at the center. So that's what this whole climate change action is, a United Nations conference of parties, the 26th edition that is currently underway in Glasgow. So this is Ghana. I'm taking you through our emissions, carbon dioxide alone, because that's the topical one for today. From 1960 as a country, we've only done 1,463.113. That's how it looks like. 2,463.133. That's our emission. That was in 1960. I'll take you all the way to 2018. We'll take a look at it. So let me quickly move to 1970. We only did 2,625.572. That's just about 2.6. That's what we've done in terms of our emissions. It's kilotons, you should note. And then in 1980, where some of us began to be born, we got 2,559. That's where we are in terms of our emissions, CO2. Then 1995, we quickly go to 1995. We've done 3,710 in terms of our emissions. Then all the way to 2005. What do we look like? It's 7,020 in terms of our emissions. That's what we've done. 2010, 2009, we have 9,950 in terms of CO2 emissions. That's where we are. Then to 2012, 14,220. That's where we are. 14,220. That's our emissions. 14,220. Then to where we are, 2016, 14,110. 14,110. That's our emissions in kilotons. 2017, 14,780. Then we go to 2018, 16,110. So from what we've seen, from 2008 to 2018, our emissions, yes, it's gone up, but it's only 88%. But I'll take you to what the other countries in the world have been doing. So this is for Ghana, our general picture in terms of our CO2 emissions in kilotons, because the world is looking at it now and seeing how, as a country, we can help in terms of fighting climate change. But this is the world map. The world on your screen. We'll start from Ghana. I've just given you Ghana, what Ghana has done. I'll take a look at our, other countries. So as of 2018, we've only done 16,110 in terms of our emissions. What has Cote d'Ivoire done? Okay, so this is Liberia, 1,320. This is ASA 2018, because that's the last we've all had at the world. Nigeria has done 130,670. That's the most populous nation in Africa, and they've done 130,670. And if you look at the map on your screen, this is Greenland. It's the white, because it means that they've done no emissions. Like their name goes, it's a Greenland. But the deep blue, these are the deep blue nations. China is leading. It means that they have the heaviest emissions when it comes to CO2. They've done 10,313,460,000. That's the emissions in kilotons. Another deep country, US, that's followed. They are following China closely, and that's 4,981,300. Another deep blue nation, that's India. 2,434,520. These are the deep blue nation. Not so blue, sea blue we call it. That's Russian Federation. They've done 1,607,000. And then we have the sea blue, the light blue, and Africa. There is no deep blue nation as we see it. No deep blue in Africa, not even Nigeria or South Africa. So the deep blue nations are China, and of course the US and then India. These are the deep blue nations. And you had the president raise concerns about why African countries should suffer for this when indeed others are doing more emissions when it comes to CO2. So that's what it looks like. But I'll take you live to Glasgow. And my colleague Seth Kwame Boateng joins us as the president has been addressing the world on how unfair it is for Africa to be suffering for this when indeed they are the heaviest emissions when it comes to CO2 in kilotons. Seth Kwame Boateng joins us via Zoom. Friend Seth, please bring us up to speed on what exactly has been happening in Glasgow.
So various meetings have been taking place since morning. Various negotiations have also been taking place. The president, after his address, is going into another meeting where he's meeting forestry officials so they can discuss further the steps we are taking to preserve our forest reserve and also to green Ghana. But MFA, the president's speech, it appears he spoke for a number of African countries because the issues he raised are issues they're also talking about. For example, where he said that Africa is being asked to halt exploitation of its natural resources. Since yesterday, what most of the people here have been talking about has been how they can, for example, stop the usage of fuel. You understand? But most countries are using solar or using electricity now, hydro. And I remember yesterday we were told that all the African, all the heads of state who came here yesterday were made to use electric-powered vehicles to make the point that the world is going hydro, no more fossil fuel, which is an issue. So imagine, just look at how we are dependent on fuel. And we boast about us discovering oil in commercial quantities. And you are being asked to stop that because the world will not need your oil in the next years. You understand? It's an issue. So the quantum of oil we are getting now in the next few years will not be something that the world would even want to buy because they are going hydro. And it is an issue for most African countries. Look at the security impact of it, the jobs that this will, the job losses that will happen. You understand? And the insecurity in Africa. Just imagine Nigeria producing oil and being told that the world does not need your oil anymore.
Okay. Well,
so the president really spoke for Africa regarding this.
How did the world take the president's submission, especially where he mentioned that the wealthy nations are not keeping to their promise of making funds available to help fight climate change in the less poorer countries?
We are yet to get reactions from these countries, but it was quite a serious one for him to have been able to say that in front of them. It's the reality. You understand? Okay. You are Western situation, and you are asking us. You're also not providing resources for us to deal with it, to mitigate the impact of it, and you are telling us that the resources that we can use to mitigate the impact of climate change, we should stop exploiting it. Is an issue. So it was a hitting one, but we are yet to hear from the world regarding what they make of what the president said. Various meetings are happening, and you can see behind me various heads of state are here, presidents from various countries are here, all trying to push for what they think can help their country deal with climate change effects.
Thank you very much, Seth. It's very refreshing to see you all the way from Glasgow. Enjoy your stay, and we'll be hearing from you more. Have a good afternoon. That's my colleague Seth Kwame Boateng reporting all the way from Glasgow in the UK on that United Nations Conference of Parties conference all the way in Glasgow on climate change. I'll bring you back to Ghana. You've had a good stay in the UK. Let's head to Erastus Osario-Donkor joining us from Akumadan. Erastus, you don't have so much good news for us today. 6 burned to death, 22 others sustained injuries. Bring us up to speed on the situation where you are.
Well, so we don't have very good news this afternoon. What you see behind me is what is left of the bus, which collided head-on with another vehicle, which is sitting to my left over here, is a Kia towing vehicle. Now, what we gather at the moment is that where we are standing, there is a police.
So that's my colleague Erastus Asari Donko, unfortunately, but we'll get back to him shortly once we have a stable feed to him. He's been giving us a picture of what's left of that bent bus and then the Kia truck as well, following that accident that has left, 6 persons bent, 22 others sustaining injuries amongst others. Erastus, continue to paint that picture to us if you can hear me.
Yes, so before the feed went on, I was explaining that there is a police barrier in front of me, and per the eyewitness accounts, the police had stopped the Kia towing vehicle, which is lying to my left on the other side of the road, and this bus was coming in at top speed.
And so that's how come it caught fire and started burning right here.
It caught fire and started burning right here by the roadside. So what we have now is and if you look inside the wreckage, you can still see the human remains, charred human remains of people still stuck in there inside the bus.
Recognition. We have 22 others who survived. They've been rescued. Some of them are receiving treatment at the Akumadan Government Hospital. I will speak with the DC for Akumadan shortly. If you can still hear me, let me speak with the DC for Akumadan shortly. Now, as the head of DISEC, tell me what you know at the moment.
Tell me what you know at the moment.
Please, thank you very much. This is very sad news. I heard it around 6 o'clock in the morning when I was in my room, and then I heard that the police commander want to see me, and then he came. When he came, he told me that there is an accident happened around this area, so I should follow him to the scene. And by all means, he came. It was true that there is a U-turn bus which has hit the towing car, pushed up to the top there, and then about 6 of them had bent and died instantly, and then the rest of the passengers have been sent to the hospital, the government hospital at Kinkelsu. There's all situation, and then we have on this. That's like we'll meet, and then we took a decision about it. Okay.
Now tell me, do you think that the positioning of the barrier here played a part in this accident?
Oh no, the position is very good, but because of the drivers on this road, they always go over speed. About 3 years ago, there is armed robbers on this road. That is why we took a decision so that they will come to this area to combat this armed robbing. And then they are there here. But nothing of this nature has not been happened. It's only yesterday night around 2 p.m. Yeah.
So that's the district chief executive there interacting with my colleague Erastus Asari Donko. And as you have it, after a ghastly incident like that, you don't expect all the machines to work very well. So 6 persons have been bent in that accident, 22 others sustaining injuries, and the DCE telling my colleague about what they've actually heard in terms of what the situation is. So from Akumadan, I'll bring you back to the studios here because there'll be more on myjoyonline.com that you can read for yourself. Now, 3 months after the speaker referred to the conduct of the Esim Central MP Kennedy Ohinie-Ejapong to the committee, not much has been done. The MP is accused of instigating attacks against Joy News reporter Erastus Asari Donko, as you just saw there, after his report on the Ijra violence. Chairman of the committee, Jose Usu, says Kennedy Ejapong is yet to be served. He spoke to me on the probe on the Joy News channel.
Well, the committee has met over it about twice or so, but on the day we set for hearing, that's when we learned that actually the person against whom the complaint was made, the honourable member against whom the complaint was made, has not been served with the processes. Apparently, he was out of the country. Indeed, since then, he has not been in Parliament. He has not been to Parliament. So we're waiting to get the honourable member and serve him. Then we can set a date for hearing.
And the Speaker's attention has been drawn to this. There's no way of reaching your own colleague, a member of Parliament?
There's a procedure for serving members. And if he's not in the jurisdiction, he's not there. There's nothing, we can't change the situation. If he is in the jurisdiction, he will be served. But for now, the report from the Secretariat is that after the day we're supposed to begin the hearing, member has not been served.
And what did your preliminary investigations find?
Preliminary investigation was that he has not been served. What we're going to do also here, give the petitioner the opportunity to tell us what is his complaint, and then we'll ask the respondent to respond and give his answer, if any, before we come to a conclusion one or the other.
First Deputy Speaker of Parliament and Chairman of the Privileges Committee there, bringing us up to speed on Nati Rastus Asare-Donkor threat by Kennedy Ohinie Japan was first brought to the attention of the Speaker by Alhassan S. Suhini, also an MP. Well, we'll follow that closely and bring you more as and when we have it. Now, officials of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, with the aid of the police on Monday, apprehended a sewage tanker driver in his 50s. This happened after a video showed him dislodging sewage into the Aveno Odo drain at the Aveno Junction. He is in the custody of the Kanishi police, expected to appear before court today. Benedicta Afram Mensah's report here read to you.
The Accra Metropolitan Assembly on Monday arrested a sewage tanker driver for dislodging human excreta in the Odon drain. The driver in the video said he had authorization from the AMA and the Aveno assemblyman.
They make a man and making on. Or brother making on. When she don't find a Patina, I don't know, assemblyman. I got the cop one. Huh? I got the cop one. And Yana say we should. I don't anybody assemblyman, you know,
District Environmental Health Officer Joseph Asitanga gave details about the arrest.
I picked an information yesterday from a community member at Aveno that there was this particular septic tank at the tip of the Odo River discharging raw effluent into the drain. So they sent me the pictures of the truck and the discharge. Upon the information I received from the community members, this morning we made a move to investigate to see which truck has come to do that particular exercise. So by our tracking, we moved to the Lavina Hill where the Cesspit MTS park. So when we got there, we tracked and we could not get the truck. So thankful to us, the informant was able to take a picture of the truck. So we took the picture, opened it, and we realized that there was contact numbers attached to the truck. So based on that, we called the truck that we have a tank we want to empty, if it can follow up to come and quickly empty a tank for us. By then we came to make a police arrangement waiting for his arrest. So when we called, upon the call, he moved the car and got to the point of the scene. Can you see here? So when he got here, we apprehended the driver and the truck. And then the driver is now in the custody, in the hands of the police, pending on us working on a docket tomorrow to process him to appear before the law court.
Speaking to Joy News, the assemblyman for Aveno electoral area, Alfred Asiedo J, claimed he had no knowledge of the operations of the sewage driver.
It's quite unfortunate. This morning, someone sent me a video of someone dislodging fecal matter into the Aveno drain, and the person boldly said the assembly member asked him to come and do so, and I was taken aback. So I took my time to watch the video. Quickly, I have to report the matter to the sanitation department the sub-metro, that is A and B, which they took the matter up. So you can see that the car number is there and the person boldly showed his face. And thanks to the public health, yes, the public health department under the sub-metro of A and B, quickly they followed it up with the car number, and they made a follow-up to the company, of which they arrested the owner of the company. They brought him to the police station, and he was able to produce the driver. Initially, the driver denied even doing anything of such, but when the video was showed to him, he was taken aback. And to God be the glory, and kudos to the police. The driver has been arrested, and I want to put it on record. He has never been authorized by anybody to do that, and investigation continues. And I'm hopeful that tomorrow he will be sent to the sanitation court, and the court will take the matter from.
You ought to keep your environments clean, and that's also part of our Clean Ghana campaign here at Joy News. You ought to be each other's keeper and watch out and let authorities know. And it's time for the National Science and Maths Quiz. And today is one contest. 3 Presbyterian schools. That's the final Eastern Regional Preliminary Contest of the National Science and Maths Quiz Championship underway at the Nat Hall. And of course, Mr. NSMQ, my colleague Maxwell Agwagwa, joins us with the very latest from the Nat Hall. Maxwell, if you can hear me, bring us up to speed on this particular contest of Presbyterian schools. Okay, so it appears that Maxwell Abuba is yet to join us on that, but it's an exciting contest that we would want to hear more about. Maxwell, bring us up to speed on this contest of Presbyterian schools.
Yeah, so at the end of round 1, we have the Ebri girls leading, but the gap is very, 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 very small. Oh. And at this point, at the end of round 1, it can be any school's, game at this point. We're waiting for the results for the second round. They're trying to correct some few issues that came up during the first round before they will give the results for the second round. So that's what we are all waiting for right now with bated breath. But at the end of round 1, I can report that it could be anyone's contest. But we have we have about 4 more rounds. So we have 4 more rounds to go. And everyone in the auditorium is just waiting patiently for the quiz mistress to announce the results for the second round, and then we go to the problem for the day.
Okay. Well, so we know it's Ebri girls. Which other schools are in this? Which other Presbyterian schools are we talking about? And what exactly was the issue that came up that they are rectifying?
Okay, so we have Krobo girls also in that contest, and then we have Suhum Presek in that contest. Now, the issue that came up was about one of the answers provided by Krobo girls. There seemed to be some disagreements between some of the teachers on the answer that was given. So they're trying to rectify that with the consultants and other people who are also here in the auditorium. But all the 3 schools are quite optimistic about winning this particular contest. Okay. The big girls, when they came in, they were all excited. They expressed a lot of optimism that they are going to qualify to the 1/8 stage, which is the beginning of the most competitive part of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Krobo girls also, when they came, the same confidence, they showed. So Presek also is showing the same level of confidence. So really, about confidence and optimism, they are all on the same level. But about the results of the quiz, that is going to be on the stage, and we are patiently waiting for that. Okay, so I'm sure you are hearing a lot of Bepol Sohain from the Ebri girls, and then from the Krobo girls, we are shining. I don't know what Suhum has been saying. Okay, so the quiz mistress. Okay, so at this point, we didn't get a figure. We didn't really get a figure that Presek Suhum is now leading. Oh! Presek Suhum is now leading at the end. By how many points? We were unable to get a figure. Okay. But Presek Suhum is leading at this point. So we're going to move to round 3, which is the problem of the day, then round 4, and then round 5. How the tables have turned. How is Krobo girls and Ebri girls taking this very latest result? Well, a lot of them were seated they were seated, not really clapping when the quiz was announced results. I'm sure it came to them as a shock. But like I already mentioned earlier, the gap between, amongst the 3 schools, not really much. It could be anyone's, contest at this point. But definitely things are likely to change in round 3 when we have the problem of the day. Okay. 10 marks available up for grabs during round 3, and then round 4, round 5 would come. So things could change then we're waiting patiently to see how it will all pan out here at the Hall in the farm.
And that's quite a stretch. Presby SHS 26 points, Ebri Girls 13, Krobo Girls also 13. And it's more like a tie between the two. And then Presby SHS has 26 points. That's the end of round 2. And we're going into round 3. And Maxwell, we are with you all the way for this because it will be interesting to see how it turns out. And that's the contest between 3 Presbyterian schools, Presby SHS, Ebri Girls, and then, of course, Krobo Girls Senior High School. Remember, the National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service. The broadcast is brought to you by Joy News and supported by Cowbell, Papett's Pizza, Ace Medical Insurance, Dole Yogurt, DBS Roofing Sheets, and Tampico. You ought to leave your dial right here for all the latest. Your school will compete, and I'm sure Ola Girls is going all the way. Do stay. We're right back with business.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Welcome back. Time for business. And a shared dialogue on how to promote and conserve the plant has been held in the northern regional capital in Tamale. The dialogue was also to identify the challenges and constraints facing the sector and to proffer solutions to these challenges.
The dialogue session organized by the Savannah Golden Tree Limited and the Tree Crop Development Authority, which brought together the various stakeholders, including scientists, speakers, and farmers, was to promote the shared production and conservation. In an interview at the dialogue session, the acting director of operations at the Tree Crop Development Authority, Patrick Zeal, said cutting of the share tree continues to be a huge challenge facing the sector.
People seem not to appreciate the essence of the share tree, which we call the tree of life for the savannah. The point is that it is life because many people depend on the share tree from both sides. But the key constraints I have identified, people don't see that share is not a tree planted by the farmer today. It is a forest tree. And what we are doing now, because of the gestation period, though we acknowledge what Cocoa Research is doing, still the tree that bear fruit are mostly forest trees that were planted years and years ago. So for now, we are trying to protect the tree to promote livelihood among our people, especially the rural dwellers.
The executive director of the Cocoa Research Institute, Dr. Francis Paddy, said the share industry will only develop if emphasis is placed on market development and value addition.
Efforts to limit the export of kernels in their raw form are needed in tandem with investments, therefore, in value addition. Based on current knowledge of the uniqueness of shea butter from the country. Fortunately, with little efforts, we can certify our shea butter we produce as organic because the areas in which shea exists have very little abuse of dangerous agrochemicals. It will not take as much effort to have products that are traceable to provenances and to pickers. So, traceability is important in global trade. Organic products are important. These two things you can do easily to put value whilst you develop markets.
The Northern Regional Manager of the Ghana Enterprise Agency, Baba Yunus Al-Hassan, said they seek to improve the impediments that continue to hinder the share industry.
Barriers such as market barriers, technology gaps, financial constraints, weak governance and structures affect most MSMEs in Ghana, particularly share businesses. With support from our partners and sponsors, Government of Ghana, through the President's CAPAS initiative, and in partnership with project partners, we have made giant strides in reducing this constraint for significant numbers of MSMEs, especially women-owned businesses or women-led businesses.
From Tamale to Kumasi, and about 10,000 businesses and startups are up to benefit from a new initiative by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II as a tool to rebuilding the local economy after COVID-19. Known as the Otumfuo Entrepreneurship Challenge, it is aimed at addressing both underemployment and the unemployment situation in the Ashanti region. Prince Appiah has more in this report.
Apart from the enabling environment, the main challenge of entrepreneurship and startups continue to be access to capital and technical support. This is what the Otumfuo Entrepreneurship Challenge was set up to address. With initial target being businesses in the Ashanti region, it is projected to extend to other parts of the country. Michael Kwetia, the project lead.
So this new initiative is trying to tackle unemployment and particularly underemployment in Ghana. So the initiative obviously comes from Asante Mine and is aimed at helping mainly Asante Mine youth to start and grow businesses that will create wealth and jobs at the same time. So it's a 5-year project, and we're targeting to at least engage with over 10,000 businesses, and will provide direct support to about 1,000 businesses and financial to support about 50 businesses over the 5-year period.
The project will also target businesses in the informal sector and empower them.
And don't forget, earlier today we brought you the Stambik Graphic Business Conference, and later on we'll bring you more of that. This is Joining Us Today. We'll take a quick break. We'll return with sports.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to myjoyonline/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for designing listeners. Joy 99.7.
Time now for sports on Joy News Today with me, Muftao Nabila Abdullahi. President of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okreku, says the football governing body is still struggling to recover from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking to the media on the sidelines of the association's 27th Congress, Mr. Okreku said the economy has been badly hit by the pandemic, making it difficult for companies to invest in football.
Economics or finance, obviously the pandemic has faced or affected every facet of the football ecosystem financially. I mean, I just spoke about the fact that we are engaging government and stakeholders to ensure that we could admit more fans to the stadium. That tells you that the pandemic also affected attendances at the stadium. I mean, in Africa, there's almost non-admission of fans to various stadia. The pandemic has affected companies. Companies are not having the needed resources to also invest in football. So it's been a very, very torrid time for the football industry. I would say that it's a surprise that clubs have survived up to now, and we've not had liquidation of clubs, etc., etc. But I think that it's also because the Football Association has worked closely with our clubs, we knowing each other, knowing what is happening and how to navigate ourselves out of this challenge. And I'm super happy about the work that has been done so far. Super grateful to all the clubs for being patient through this challenging period and believing in the leadership of our Football Association.
Still on the Ghana Football Association, it has dropped the idea of introducing video assistant referee into its top flight competitions until 2022. That is according to referees manager of the association, Alex Cote. Speaking to Joy Sports, Mr. Cote said they will consider giving referees an opportunity to watch replays for major decisions.
Started the VAR process last year. Unfortunately, FIFA came back to us that there is this VAR light, which is less expensive as compared to the current one. Okay, and so why don't we rather wait till 2022 so that we can all begin to work with the VAR light? Okay, so on that light we just paused, but I want to discuss with StarTimes to see what we can do in the interim. Okay, if we can create something, if not even closer to VAR, but something where the referees will get a second access to their to major incidents, and then see how best they can review it and then come back. It's something that we want them to discuss. If we are not able to finish it within this week off, but if we are not able to finalize, maybe in a week or two, we will finalize it and then we'll try and experiment it, do some pilot work and see how it works.
Is it going to be more of replay stuff for referees?
Yes. Because start times have the replay tool, and so they will want to try with that one, and then we'll see how it works.
And Hazaka's Ladies Chief Executive Officer Evelyn Insian Asare believes the Wafu Zombie champions will make a mark in the Women's Maiden Calf Champions League that starts on Friday. She called on corporate Ghana and the government to support women's football.
We don't have any problem. I trust my players, and we just want to make a mark. We know that if we are able to go far, it will help the other women teams in Ghana and then even West Africa, because we are representing West Africa ourselves and Nigeria. So we have to make a mark. I cannot promise, but I believe we are not going to fail Ghanaians. What I want to say is that women football has come to stay. It is never going back. So it's time they understand and help us. I believe that if the corporate institutions will adapt one women football team, it will go a long way to help us. When I was entering into the women football, I saw Gatel, I saw police, Ghana Post ladies and other things, and we don't have them anymore, with the exception of the services teams. The rest are individual teams.
And tonight is a return of Europe's biggest interclub football competition, that is the UEFA Champions League, and Malmo FF, they will be hosting Chelsea. Bayern Munich will be in action against Benfica. Wolfsburg also come against Real Brugge Salzburg. Atalanta will host Manchester United, and Dynamo Kiev will come up against Barcelona. Juventus versus Zenit St. Petersburg. Seville versus Lille, and Villarreal will also host Young Boys. That's how we wrap up sports on Joy News today with me, Muftao Nabila Abla. But we do have more sports stories to share with you on myjoyonline.com. The news continues with MFR.
Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Ending today's edition of Joy News Today. Of course, there's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Stories making the headlines. We have from business all the way to entertainment, everything and more on myjoyonline.com. And that's it for today's edition. I am Emefa Apau. Do stick with us here on the Joy News channel.